I'm Jon.
Hey, I'm Susie. Hello.
We're going to start this off by running a trailer of the film Chapter and Verse. So let's start with that.
My name is S. Lance Ingram. They used to call me L. Or Crazy L from 118th.
I want you to check with your 5-star generals. Have them check with the older heads in the joint. Find out who I am.
Stuck finding my way. There's no other way. You live and you learn. I'm just writing my.
How long you been out the joint, huh?
Few weeks.
Why you acting all shady and shit?
Find a job?
No jobs, no jobs. First week for free. I got 2 computer certificates.
Make the deliveries. Make the deliveries.
So what you go to jail for?
They never knew you. Gotta make a right way.
Turn that thing off. Turn that thing off.
This is my grandson, Ty.
What? About to get high as.
I ain't going back to the joint for nobody. You hear me? Whoa.
Can a girl get comfortable?
What I want to know is how to buy things off of this computer.
Let me show you.
I need you to tell me what to do, and then I can practice it on my own.
That was all shade like a Zebo. On my name had a.
The general gave you a number. 2 up, stab 2 people.
There's you over there.
2 up, 1 down, stab 2, shoot 1.
Take it.
I used to get those numbers out. Make recruits prove they was loyal. They was family. The real family don't make you jeopardize your future, know what I mean?
I got a scar still from police. My hand was split in half.
More things change, the most stay the same. Harlem, USA,
Yo, shut the f up.
Stuck finding my way. There's no other way.
I got you.
You live and you learn. I'm just writing my.
You said you used to show niggas how to keep the shit real. Chapter and verse.
I'm gonna put me first. Just mark my words. A whole chapter and verse. Write it up. 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 Write it up.
Who would have ever thought that a movie set in Harlem based on true stories would have really started here in Watts? I bet nobody. But Chapter and Verse did. Susie and I were invited to see somebody perform one night at a party who was really there to show us his real talent, which was being an artist in residence at a very important nonprofit here in Watts. And Chapter and Verse was a result of the fact that he, who had a spoken word, Daniel Beatty, the star of the picture, basically told the story of his life. He's a guy that grew up with his father being incarcerated 58 times for dealing heroin. But in spite of all of that, he got a scholarship to Yale, made his way back to New York, back to Harlem, befriended his now director and writing partner, who was in prison for 9 years for being a baby Black Panther, got 2 degrees in prison, ends up teaching and running Columbia Ivy League School's film program. Neither of them have left Harlem since. They've had incredible opportunities. And we thought, Susie and I, that it was very important to bring to light these issues of recidivism, issues of prison reform, issues of black on black violence, white on black, all violences. But more importantly, we felt by this experience that we had that we could depict a movie that would show breaking a cycle. And what you see in this movie, through the performances and through the message and through the storytelling, among all the hope and all the possibilities and all the sadness that can occur, you see a man who gets out making a decision. He gets a second chance, and with that second chance, he has to make a decision whether or not he can really, truly impact the fact that some young man might enter a gang. And he depicts it, and he shows with experience how that can happen. And that's what we're so proud of. And I think in this area of development of film and television today, more than ever, especially the young people that I've met here and around the country, there are stories and there are movies And there are wonderful people that need to be nurtured and developed and brought to the forefront of our industry. So one of the things that we've decided to do over the course of the last few years is to really pledge our interest towards much more meaningful, conscious, important subjects that can also translate into television and can continue on. And this film is a perfect example of that. And if anybody here feels that they're in a struggle or in a stuck spot, or there's ever any issue about where am I going to go from here, how am I going to do it, our film isn't a how-to, but what it does is it shows you the importance of certain fundamental things, of mentorship, of community involvement, of how you can turn around being a YG to an OG to being a really responsible person in communities across the country. And we have a tremendous future for not only this film, but for the development of African American filmmakers in both not only California and Atlanta and Philadelphia and places like Chicago, but everywhere. We want to extend ourselves also to this community to make it very clear that we're really willing to pay attention, to read the material, to hear the stories, to find common ways to tell all stories, not stories that are simply based on violence or gangs, but stories that show how in every walk of life, whatever color you are, that we're entertaining and we're making statements that are positive, and we're showing positive role models who are in everyday life that are colorless. And I think there's a huge movement today to try to do that, specifically in places like Netflix and Amazon and those types of services that can actually put you in the mood to be not only educated, but to be entertained, and can continue to fulfill a desire that people, I think, have to make a difference, to participate, to try to use your resources in your environment to make a difference outside, to come together, to operate as a real foundation for a community that people like us can depict and promote and show and encourage and bring theaters to and bring movies to. And that's what we've done with Chapter and Verse. And if you look at the example in Harlem at the Mist Theater, the movie has done a tremendous amount of business, not because of just the film, but because there's a tremendous amount of interest in the community to discuss and to talk about things after it's over. So I'm going to pass it to Susan now, and she's going to say a few words as well.
When we read this film, it became so evident that the story needed to be told. And being involved with these organizations that help mentor them really shows us that there's ways for people to make a difference, to get there, to get out there, to be involved. And I'll challenge all of you. We love good stories. We love great stories. And I bet every single one of you can tell a great story. And we're open to all those stories because every day is a new day, and everybody can share comedies, can share dramas, dramedies. And if you write them down and you tell them and you share them, I mean, we were sitting at a dinner party when this story came to us. And we just kind of looked at each other and said, it needs to be told. The story needs to be told. So you could be sitting anywhere and hand it to someone and be fearless and make a difference in the world.
One of the most important things, I think, to speak a little bit to independent filmmaking, and if you're curious about how to enter the industry and a little bit about what makes things happen in our world, there's incredible opportunities for involvement. There's a tremendous amount of work that can be had by mentoring or being mentored in independent films in your communities. In Harlem, we had an entire local cast. Everybody that was there was either a Harlem resident or a filmmaker who had come up through one of the various film hubs, whether it was Spike Lee or the various schools that are there. We did an incredible job at making sure we had that impact. We formed a company with a with a very smart group there called the Harlem Film Company, which exists, which also works as a kind of marketing and publicity and rights organization to help not just promote the film, but films that will be Harlem Film Company films. And I think someone here in Watts should form a Watts Film Company. And I think they should use the gymnasium like they do in Harlem in their facility to run the company. The movie we made was made for under $2 million. It's not a big studio production. People put up their own money. People like Walter Thurman, who's a quarterback, people like our families, but people who understood how important it was to make films that are not just big studio, blockbuster, tentpole films. People who really feel that it's important to make a difference.